We have all the parts, finally!
Parts for what?
Oh, if you don't know, we are replacing the engine of our sailboat, and for that we need to replace also the exhausting system for the engine, and that gave us a lot of trouble. We shot already a video talking about this problem, so we don't need to talk about them again. If you didn't watch, you can go watch that video, but then come back to this one, because finally this week, I think today, we're gonna finish installing all these pieces.
We hope so.
Yeah. We always believe it's like a 2 hours job and end up like 2-3 days, maybe a week job. But we need to get started, otherwise we won't know how long it's gonna take, right?
Let's get started.
I'm Roberta,
And I'm Duca.
and together we are on the mission of bringing this sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life.
So, don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Monday for a new episode.
Even though our waterlock and gooseneck are made out of stainless steel, they are not polished, and they had some superficial rust. So we decided to sandblast them and to give a coat of epoxy paint. What an opportunity for Duca to try out Reginald's sandblasting machine. Now I have a confession to make. I deleted by mistake all the footage we had from the painting job. So let's skip this part and go straight to the installation. It's heavy.
I think someone's already having trouble with the hose. It's a big hose.
Heavy.
Yeah, and long. Yeah, just keep going with your tail. Roberta has a tail now. It's heavy actually. So the idea is to install this gooseneck where it belongs, all the way in the transom. And then from there we're gonna make our way all the way to the engine. So it's basically hose connection, hose connection, hose connection, and then we get to the engine. But before that, let's fix something else. Remember that the original idea was to use this through hole both for the exhausting system and also for the bilge pump. That's this hose right here. We're not gonna do that. A lot of people comment saying that it's really dangerous because the gases from the exhausting system can go back through the bilge pump,
Even using the
valves. But I still believe it would be okay, but we thought and we can use a different through hole for the bilge pump. So first step is to take out these holes for the bilge pump. Tight here.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah. The idea was to cut this and lock this in place already and then slide the hose, but we are only gonna know how the hose arrive here once it is in place, because right now we have another problem that we didn't think about. That's this, the spacing between the autopilot and this metal, how we're gonna have the hose here. That's gonna be a really tricky situation. So I think it's easier if we just try to slide the hose and then we do this. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Plans change all the time. Exciting news! I think it's gonna work. It's not touching the autopilot on the bottom. I don't know if you can see, but it's not touching there. And we still didn't lock this here. So now, all we need to do is to measure this and cut the hose. I think it's gonna work beautifully. Beautiful. Do you remember who said beautiful all the time? 15 years ago when we met, we lived in Australia for like 3 months and we stayed at a friend's house and he used to say beautiful every day, all day long. That was so cool. We miss you, Levi.
Finally.
I seriously never seen a hose that strong. It's just amazing. Now is the trick time. We need to measure the huge hose, and in order to do that, we need to simulate both connections, I mean both ends of the hose, and that's really tricky because if we do a mistake, we're in trouble. Let's just put it this way. We need to open here to see.
We almost did a huge mistake. We marked here, but we need to add 20 centimeters. We almost cut less than we need.
That was scary. If we do that, that means we either need to buy a new hose or add more connections that we don't want. So.
Ready? First one.
Let's see if we can fit this in place now. Should we do a dry fit or should we go all
Go
in?
forward.
You think go all in?
No.
Dry fit. I mean, not dry, sweat fit because I'm really, really sweaty.
It's perfect. All in.
All in.
I'm ready for the all in.
Let's do it. Now, that moment that everyone waits for. An excuse to Sikaflex. If you don't know me, you might know now that I love to use Sikaflex. No, we're not sponsored by Sikaflex. It's just, I think it works really well on our boat. And this boat might float a little bit even better because of the amount of Sikaflex we have on the boat.
Time for the truth.
We need to see if the length we cut on that it's good. It's really close. We'll see. Tight fit. So now we have the hose coming all the way from the gooseneck to here. Next step is to find the length of this piece of hose. But in order to do that, I think it's going to be much easier if we install first the water lock, and from the water lock we make our way back to here. What do you say?
Yeah.
Ta-da.
We are trying to put a piece of gasket on each side of the hose.
It's really tough. We don't have enough space. One side we have the gasket protecting because the vibration of the engine might cause the metal to be ting 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 ting, and we don't want that. We managed to put in one side, the starboard side. On the port side we have the space, but not enough for this thickness of the rubber we have. We did it. Yeah. Now all we need to do is to lift this because we want this as high as possible, otherwise it's gonna hit the cardan shaft. So we need to lift this high and lock this clamp down here, because this clamp is what's gonna hold this from turning, and right now we have no clamp at all. Once we put the clamp, we tied it. I think this is gonna be just perfect.
We were really excited to install this in place, so
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah, I think it's really good actually. By the way, some people are concerned that this metal piece is gonna be a problem because if it's in contact with wood, it's gonna burn the wood and burn the boat. This is not a dry exhaust. This is a wet exhaust. That means that before leaving the engine, the exhaust is cooled by cold water. That means here's cold water. If we have any problem on the cooling system, this might get a little bit hot, but before this becomes a problem, we're gonna listen to weird noises. We're gonna hear the little bang 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 problem lights. So we have a lot of sensors to tell us that we have a problem.
And we are gonna smell the rubber being burned.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Before this becomes a problem, this would become a problem, because in order for this metal to burn wood, you need a lot of heat. This hose is made for, I think, 90 degrees.
90 degrees Celsius.
Yes, this is made for for wet exhausting, and that's what we have, so we don't need nothing more than that. And of course, we talked to the engineer responsible for installing the engine. He's installing the engine, we are installing the exhausting system, but he is helping us to decide how to do the exhausting system, so everything we did is according to a guy that's been working with Yamaha engine for so long. I'm really wet. I think oh, I went swimming today. Time to...
Swimming in the boat.
Yeah, let's go have lunch. Lunch. The idea here is to make a siphon here to make sure the salt water won't come back through this hose, and in this way it will go and not come back.
And we can lock the hose on the wood, right?
Yeah, we can somehow lock the hose here.
Good.
Morning. I'm just trying not to move and I'm resting a little bit. I think I put on the wrong place. I think I found a better place to put. I need to do it again. It's always the same. Isn't it good?
Yeah, seems
Because now it's not touching anything. It's not touching here. It's not touching here. And it can freely move, but won't go anywhere.
And we have a
I
siphon.
might even lock here. We are really close to finish. All we need to do now, I think, is to reroute the bilge pump, because here used to be the bilge pump, and the idea now is to install this bilge pump on the true hole that used to be the shower bilge pump for the
Stern.
head, because on the stern head we killed the shower. We don't have shower anymore, and it's such a small bilge that if we get wet somehow one day, we just get a rag and we can clean. We're not planning at all to have showers on this head, so we are gonna use that true hole for this bilge pump, and we're all good, because now this is only for the exhausting system.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
What a day, my heart is full of butterflies. There's no disguising how I feel whenever I'm with you. I've waited till the moment's right to look into those starry eyes and say the words that I'm thinking all the time. Oh, I do, I do, I do, I love you.
So now all we need to do is to connect these two hoses, and we're good to go.
Can you show the place of this one on the how?
All the way. I don't know if you saw, but here, it's a tough place. We installed that once. We don't want to do that anytime soon, because that was so tricky to connect that hose.
Now it's time to install the valve.
Yeah, we're gonna install a valve that's just a, it's not
No
a check,
return?
it's not, yeah, it's not a check valve, it's just, you know, the flat no return valve, just to make sure any water from the ocean won't get inside through the bilge pump.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is gonna be any problem to the pump, because it's not a check valve that's like really tight. It's just like a little flap valve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. It's funny how everything went smooth. Now we just need to screw 4 screws to hold this valve in place, and that's giving us a lot of work. And this is the main problem, because this hatch, I mean this, not hatch, this hole on the wall, it's too small to work. So I'm like
Scratching.
always scratch. It's just like you need to work like this, and it's almost impossible. So I think it's a good opportunity to.
Use your present.
Yeah, I just got a gift for my birthday late, because the the delivery didn't make on time. But Robert bought me a gift that is gonna be perfect to do that. Let's open it. It's gonna be really exciting. Something that if we had bought before would help a lot, many times. Tada!
Finally.
Finally, a mood too. Yeah, this is gonna be so good.
No, it's not sponsored.
Nope, it's just a gift for my.
It was really expensive,
Yeah,
actually.
that was just my birthday gift. It's not sponsored, but if Milwaukee wants to send more stuff, we would love other tools. They have such great tools, by the way.
Yeah, great.
I can go to work now.
Yeah, you are
Yeah,
to work.
Can you remind me why we didn't buy this before? Why didn't we buy this before? It's so good. Check this out. It's gonna be really good. But we need a vacuum because it's too dusty. This is just magical. I love it. Now we can work much easier here, and later on we are probably gonna cut the entire window square, perfect, so we can have like a cover. So when we use the cabinet, we just screw a cover. Whenever we need to give maintenance to the systems, we open the cover and we have, you know.
Is this your new favorite too?
Yeah, that's my favorite too, for now, at least. Two hours later, I'm not sure if it's 2 hours, but feels like 2 hours. These 4 screws gave us so much trouble, but check it out. It's in place, and it's tight, really firm in place. Good?
Just need to put this back.
Oh, we need to put that back. So now that everything is in place, all the hoses and connections and clamps, they are all in place, we need to explain why we have this in every connection.
Yeah, we are gonna have a ground on every single piece.
Yeah, we're gonna run a wire from the first piece to the last piece, and on the end we're gonna connect this wire to the hull of the boat. And as you know, we have a metal boat, so that means if we connect to the hull, we are connecting to the anodes. And if we connect to the anodes, instead of corroding these stainless steel pieces, the anodes are gonna corrode.
Yeah.
That's the theory, and I think it's gonna work. So let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
After almost 6 hours.
That's it. Last one. All we need to do now is to attach this end, I mean, don't need to be this long, to the metal of the boat, to the hull of the boat. That's gonna be right, I don't know if you can see it because it's dark, but it's gonna be on the, there's a hole there, there's gonna be a bolt. We're gonna take the paint off to make the contact in between the boat and the hull of the boat, and we're gonna attach all the ground cables that we have. That's not the only one, we have a few ground cables. So I think I'm rambling because I'm tired.
We see you tomorrow.
It's a wrap.
It's happening.
Something else, of course. There's always something else. But I was right now locking all the wires and hoses together. Check this out. Really tight together and protecting everywhere we have a corner. In the end of this episode, we're gonna show you a video clip of all the way the hose goes, like the whole, the way, yeah. And we're gonna show you in detail every single corner, sharp corner. We protect them with rubber, with other hoses, and with clamp.
And Sikaflex.
And Sikaflex, yeah. Some places we need to have a rubber to protect, and we just glue with Sikaflex. And we protect every single place that we thought that the friction could damage either the wire or the hose. But before I finish doing that, I need to take the autopilot off. The reason for that is because this week we found out that a friend of ours have the same autopilot, and he's having trouble with his, and he wants maybe to buy our autopilot. So we're gonna take the autopilot out, and because he's arriving soon to check it out, so we're gonna take the CPU, the main brain, off, and also gonna take the time to take the arm out because we're gonna send to maintenance, because the arm we're gonna use probably, so we're gonna send to the maintenance to clean inside and to lubricate and everything. So before we end this episode, I'm gonna take this out.
Good luck.
That's it. Last piece of the puzzle. This is what reads the position of the rudder and gives information to the brain of the autopilot. But the new autopilot that we have, the new brain, came with this part, so we are gonna sell this together with the brain to our friend. Sounds good?
Yeah, great.
Are you ready?
I think it's time to show all we have done with the hoses and connections and everything.
Yeah. Pay attention on the details of how we protect every single corner.
Yeah.
We don't remember that we left any corner, sharp corner, that risks the system anywhere. And by the way, a lot of people are concerned with the metal touching the wood. We also didn't touch the wood. Everywhere the metal connections are touching is either rubber or rubber.
If
There's
we
not even metal. It's not even metal, not wood.
If we forgot any place, let us
Let
know.
us know. Yeah, I think we did a really good job. We're really happy with the results. And remember, just keep in mind, this is a wet exhausting. That's not a dry exhausting. So that means that it's cooled down before leaving the engine. And I think it's gonna work beautifully.
So check it out.
Check it out.
Bye bye.